I'm John Redwood. In the 1970s, as a young man in business, I studied the European Economic Community and decided it would be very damaging to British business. I forecast that it would lead to a very big trade deficit, with the EEC taking advantage of their lawmaking and regulatory ability to make sure the playing field was tilted against United Kingdom industry. As happened, I watched in horror, but not surprised, as we lost, for example, half our motor manufacturing in the first 10 years of our membership. In the middle 1980s, I became head of the policy unit for Prime Minister Thatcher and had the privilege of helping her introduce a very major set of reforms around the general theme of wider ownership, empowering people, increasing self-employment, expanding small business, and breaking up the great nationalised monopolies so that they could compete, innovate and invest rather more and be more successful. In 1987 I was first elected to the House of Commons as a Member of Parliament, and I went on to become a minister for some 6 years, getting into the Cabinet and being Secretary of State for Wales, and then I held 3 shadow cabinet posts in opposition after the big Conservative defeat in 1997. I had warned that we were very likely to suffer and lose that election because of the enormous economic damage inflicted upon the United Kingdom by the European exchange rate mechanism, which created a boom and bust in the final years of Conservative administration. And although that was sought by all the main parties, by the CBI and the TUC, naturally the Conservatives got blamed for that. So I then developed a campaign to take to the country to warn people that just as the ERM had been very bad for us, so would membership of the single currency, and I took around the country with others the campaign to save the pound. And the rest is really history. We won that campaign, and then some of us decided that the Maastricht Treaty was a treaty too far, that it was a very different prospect from membership of a single or common market that the British people had voted for in the early 1970s. And so I then started with others to campaign to get a referendum on our continued membership of what had become the European Union. And it was a privilege to win that campaign, to persuade a Conservative government to stand for election, promising a referendum, to then support that government in putting through the necessary legislation, and then working with many thousands of others to ensure that the British people voted to get back the independence of our country and all of their liberties.